I never thought a simple phone call could make my heart stop, but that day it did. The morning had started like any other. The sun was barely up, and a gray haze clung to the city streets. I was sitting at my kitchen table, my hands wrapped around a warm cup of tea, watching the steam rise and twist into the cold air. Everything seemed ordinary until my phone rang. It was my grandson. My heart skipped a beat the moment I saw his name flash across the screen. He was only 8 years old, sweet and mischievous, but something in the tone of his voice made me uneasy. "Hello, Nana." His voice was unusually quiet, almost trembling. "Hello, my baby. Is everything okay?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. My instincts were already telling me something was wrong. There was silence, then a whisper. "Nana, look under the table at my father's wedding." I froze. My hand trembled as I gripped the cup. My tea sloshed slightly, but I didn't notice. What do you mean, baby? Please just do it. Trust me." I swallowed hard. My mind spun. His father, my son, was getting married today. I had spent weeks preparing, choosing my dress, arranging flowers, making sure I had the right gift. I had imagined a happy day, a proud day, and now this. My grandson's voice broke through my thoughts. "Nana, I can't tell anyone. You have to see it yourself." I wanted to ask why. I wanted to argue, but something in his tone, something urgent, scared, desperate, made me stop. I looked out the window. The gray drizzle had turned into light rain. My heart beat faster. "All right, baby. I'll see. But you must promise me nothing bad happens." I promise. By noon, I was at the wedding hall. Everything looked perfect. The kind of perfection people photograph, pinned to Pinterest boards, and call a dream wedding. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, casting tiny prisms of light over tables draped in white linen. Flowers in soft pinks and creams smelled faintly sweet. Guests laughed, clinking glasses, smiling for cameras. My son was there, standing tall in his black tuxedo, his hair perfectly combed. He laughed at a joke someone whispered in his ear. He looked happy, oblivious, and yet I couldn't shake the knot in my stomach. I found my grandson near the corner of the hall. His small hand slipped into mine, warm and reassuring. He tugged gently. Now he mouthed, eyes wide, serious. I knelt beside the table, my heart hammering. Slowly, I looked under the white linen, my eyes scanning the floor. And then I saw it. I don't think I can describe what it felt like. My stomach dropped. My hands went cold. My grandson was right. There, beneath the table, hidden in plain sight, was a secret I could never have imagined. Something so shocking, so utterly humiliating, it made my knees weak. Tears blurred my vision. My mind raced, trying to comprehend. How could this happen? Why hadn't I seen it before? I had spent decades raising my son, guiding him, protecting him, and yet here was proof that I had been blind. "Did you see it, Nana?" My grandson whispered, his small hand clutching mine tighter. I nodded, my lips trembling. "Yes, I saw it." He shook his head, eyes wide. "We have to be careful. If anyone finds out I told you, they'll be very angry." I swallowed hard. I understand. We'll be careful." I crawled out from under the table, my hands shaking. The world seemed brighter, louder, yet darker at the same time. The laughter, the music, the clinking glasses, it all felt hollow. And then I realized my son was looking right at me. My blood ran cold. His eyes locked on mine. I couldn't tell if he had seen my moment under the table or if my mind was playing tricks. But the intensity in his gaze, it was sharp, suspicious, dangerous. I forced a smile, even though my hands were trembling. "Hello, everyone. What a beautiful day," I said loudly, trying to sound cheerful, masking the turmoil inside. My grandson tugged at my sleeve again. His eyes begged me to move, to stay quiet. I nodded. We have to survive this moment, whatever it takes. I moved to a chair at the side of the hall, my mind racing. I replayed what I had seen under the table. Every detail, every movement, every shadow. My heart ached. My body felt heavy. I couldn't believe this was real. The wedding progressed. Guests took their seats. The ceremony was about to begin. Music swelled, and my son stood with his bride at the altar. The officiant began speaking, the words flowing around me like a murmur. But I couldn't focus. My eyes kept drifting back to the table where the secret waited, hidden beneath layers of fabric and deception. I thought of my grandson, standing there, brave and innocent, carrying knowledge no child should have to bear. His small hands gripped mine earlier, and I felt an overwhelming wave of love and protectiveness. He had trusted me with this secret, and I couldn't fail him. The vows began. My son spoke, his voice strong, sincere, but in my mind, every word was tainted by what I had seen. Every promise felt like a lie. I wanted to shout. I wanted to run. I wanted to tear the world apart and demand the truth. But I couldn't. Not here. Not now. The music continued, the ceremony flowing like a well-oiled machine, every guest oblivious to the storm brewing beneath the surface. And then my grandson tugged at my sleeve again. His eyes darted toward the table. He whispered, barely audible, "Nana, watch. He's coming this way." My heart stopped. I looked up just as my son, smiling, approached my corner. His eyes locked on mine again. I could see suspicion, a flicker of recognition, or was it just my imagination? I swallowed hard, trying to steady my shaking hands. "Hello, my son. You look beautiful today." My voice faltered, betraying the panic I felt inside. He smiled politely, but there was something in his gaze that made my stomach twist. He lingered, just a moment too long. "Everything all right, Mom?" His voice was smooth, but there was an edge I couldn't ignore. I nodded, forcing a laugh. "Oh yes, just excited, that's all." He looked at me for a long, tense moment. I could see the curiosity in his eyes, the suspicion. I could feel it like a knife pressed against my ribs. And then, mercifully, he turned away. But the damage was done. My mind was a whirlwind of fear, shame, and confusion. I sat down, my hands gripping the chair tightly. My grandson pressed a small hand into mine, whispering, "Nana, we need to be ready. This isn't over." I nodded, feeling a cold sweat break across my forehead. This wedding, this day, it was never going to be what I thought it would be. The lies, the betrayal, the humiliation, they were just beginning. I never imagined that a wedding could feel like walking through a minefield. But that day, it did. The hall was filled with music, laughter, and the scent of roses and lilies. Guests clinked glasses, the chatter loud and light. But I felt like I was walking through fog. Every smile, every polite laugh, every congratulatory hug was colored with dread. The secret I had seen under that table was a weight pressing on my chest, a storm that threatened to break me. I clutched my grandson's hand as we moved slowly toward the buffet table. He was quiet, unusually solemn for a child who usually chattered nonstop. His little hand in mine felt warm, steady, and yet tense, like he was holding back a secret too heavy for him to bear. "Are you sure about what you saw, Nana?" he whispered, his voice trembling. I nodded. "I saw it, baby. Every detail. But we must be careful. Not a word to anyone." His eyes darted around the room, searching. "They can't know. My father, he'll be furious. They'll punish me." I squeezed his hand. "Nothing will happen, I promise. I'm here. I'll protect you." And then it happened. My son's best man approached us with a wide grin. "Nana, there you are. Come, come. Let's take a family photo." I forced a smile. "Of course," I said, my voice trembling slightly. My heart pounded in my ears as we moved into position. The photographer clicked away, capturing smiles that didn't reach our eyes. I kept glancing toward the table. The memory of what I had seen under it burned in my mind. As the photos ended, I felt a nudge from my grandson. His tiny hand pressed into mine. "Now, Nana, look again." I froze. My pulse raced. Not now. Not here. But curiosity, fear, and maternal instinct overpowered me. Slowly, I crouched again, careful to stay out of sight. And there it was. My stomach lurched. My heart stopped. The secret was not only still there, it was worse than I had imagined. I could see the evidence of betrayal clearly now. Hidden messages, items, things that no mother should ever have to see about her own child, laid bare under the table. The depth of deception stunned me. A chill ran down my spine. I swallowed hard, trying to steady my shaking hands. I felt my grandson's gaze on me, full of fear and pleading. Nana, you saw it. You understand, right? I nodded. Yes, I understand. But we have to wait, we can't act now. I rose slowly, trying to blend back into the crowd. Every step felt heavy. Every movement felt like a trap. The music swelled, guests laughed, and the world moved forward as if nothing was wrong. But for me, everything had changed. I watched my son from across the room. He laughed, clinking glasses with his new wife, entirely unaware, or pretending to be, of the secret that hovered under that table. And yet I felt it. I could see the subtle shift in his demeanor, the flicker of suspicion that sometimes crossed his face. He knew. I could sense it. My grandson tugged at my sleeve again. Nana, we have to do something. I shook my head. Not yet. We need to gather more information. Understand everything. Then we can decide. But even as I said the words, fear clawed at me. What if the secret was bigger than I thought? What if my son suspected we knew? The ceremony continued. The officiant spoke, reciting vows that now felt hollow and meaningless. My son repeated his promises, his voice strong, confident, but every word felt tainted. I clenched my fists, trying not to cry. How could someone I had loved, raised, and trusted be capable of such betrayal? Then came the reception. Guests danced, laughed, and celebrated. The hall shimmered with lights, the sound of the band filling the air. I stayed close to my grandson, guiding him through the crowd, keeping him safe, keeping him hidden. And then the moment of revelation came. My son's bride raised a toast. To love, family, and new beginnings, she said, her voice bright, eyes sparkling. Glasses clinked, everyone cheered. But as I watched, my heart sank. Something shifted under the table. Someone had moved. My pulse raced. I crouched again, peeking beneath the linen. And then I saw it. A hand reached for the hidden items. Someone was tampering with the evidence. My stomach dropped. Panic rose like a wave. I could barely breathe. Before I could react, my grandson whispered urgently, Nana, it's him. Your son. He knows we saw it. I froze. Every instinct screamed at me to run, to protect my grandson, to shield him from what was coming. But I couldn't move. My legs felt like lead. My son crouched slightly, his eyes scanning under the table. I could see the anger, the suspicion, the tension radiating from him. I felt trapped, exposed, vulnerable. Tears pricked my eyes. I swallowed hard. How did it come to this? How did a wedding, my son's special day, become a battlefield of secrets and lies? I whispered to my grandson, stay calm. Don't let him see your fear. He nodded, clutching my hand tightly. I could feel his small body trembling. He was scared, and I was terrified. Suddenly, my son's gaze snapped to me. He took a step closer. Mom, what are you doing? His voice was low, measured, but there was a dangerous edge. I forced a smile. Just helping him, your son. You know, keeping him safe. My words sounded hollow even to me. He didn't move closer, but his eyes didn't leave me. I could feel them burning into my soul. And then he turned back toward the crowd, but I knew the moment was temporary. The tension hung like a dark cloud over the celebration. I guided my grandson away, my heart pounding, mind racing. Every thought was chaos, fear, and dread. The secret under the table wasn't just shocking, it was dangerous. As I moved through the hall, trying to stay composed, I overheard snippets of conversations. Laughter, clinking glasses, polite congratulations, but beneath it all, I sensed the storm waiting to break. I could feel it in the air. And then, my grandson whispered again, barely audible. Nana, we have to do something before it's too late. Before he finds out we know everything. I nodded, swallowing my fear. We will, baby. We will. But we have to be smart. Careful. My hands trembled as I held him close. The music played on. Guests laughed. The hall glittered with light and joy. But for us, it was a battlefield. And under that table, the secret waited, ready to destroy everything. Families are supposed to protect each other, But sometimes the people closest to you are the ones hiding the darkest secrets. The music faded into background noise, like a distant echo. All I could hear was my heartbeat. Fast, erratic. My grandson's small hand trembled in mine, gripping tightly as if holding on to life itself. Mom, Nana. My son's voice cut through the chatter, calm but sharp, almost predatory. I froze. His gaze was fixed, unrelenting. I knew he suspected something, but what? Did he see me under the table? Did he know what we knew? I forced a smile, leaning slightly toward him. Just making sure your little one is comfortable. Weddings can be so overwhelming for children. He raised an eyebrow, eyes narrowing ever so slightly. I see. There was a pause, a tension that made the air feel heavy. Well, thank you, Mom. Keep an eye on him. I nodded, my heart pounding. Every movement, every glance, every word had to be careful. One misstep, one slip, and everything could unravel. As the reception continued, I retreated to a quiet corner of the hall. My grandson followed, his eyes scanning constantly, alert to every movement, every whisper. I could feel the tension radiating off him. He was carrying a secret too heavy for his young shoulders, and I hated that I couldn't protect him completely. Tell me everything, I whispered. He hesitated, glancing around nervously. Nana, I saw things before. Things Dad didn't want anyone to know. Things under the table. They weren't just strange. They were dangerous. My chest tightened. Dangerous how? He swallowed hard, his small body trembling. Items. Letters. A phone. He's hiding things from everyone. From me, from Mom, from you. I felt a cold wave wash over me. My son, my own child, had secrets. And now I understood why. The unease I had felt all these years. The sudden anger, the defensiveness. The way he avoided certain conversations made sense. I guided him to a chair, kneeling beside him. We have to be careful. Whatever he's hiding, we can't confront him yet. Not now, but we'll find out. We'll make sure we know everything before we act. He nodded, biting his lip, eyes wide with fear. Nana, what if he finds out we know? I squeezed his hand, trying to steady both him and myself. Then we survive. Together. You and me. We spent the next hour observing, listening. Every interaction between my son and his bride, every glance, every whispered word, it all felt like a puzzle. And every piece led back to the table. The same table that held the evidence of betrayal, the items that could shatter everything. And then the bride walked past, laughing at a joke, completely oblivious. I noticed the way she glanced at the table, her smile faltering for just a second. Something in her expression, hesitation, anxiety, fear. I leaned closer to my grandson. Did you see that? He nodded. She knows something. She's scared too. My mind raced. How deep did this go? Was it only my son hiding things, or were there others involved? Was this a family secret? A lie spanning years? The thought made my stomach churn. The band struck up a new song. Guests returned to the dance floor. People laughed, clinking glasses, but I felt like an outsider in my own family. I could see the cracks in the perfect facade, the tension simmering beneath the smiles. Then my son approached again, this time with his new wife. He stopped near us, smiling, too perfectly, too deliberately. Everything okay, Mom? His voice was light, casual, but there was an edge, subtle but unmistakable. I nodded, forcing calm. Yes, just making sure your little one is happy. He looked down at my grandson, then back at me. I could feel the weight of his gaze, and for a fleeting moment, I thought he might search under the table. I couldn't let him. I had to act. I leaned closer to my grandson, whispering, "Stay calm. Follow my lead. Don't say a word." He nodded, eyes wide. The band played on, oblivious to the tension, oblivious to the storm building around our table. Then came the moment that would change everything. The photographer suggested a group shot. Guests moved into position. I could see my son smile, the perfect expression he wore for the cameras. But I also saw the flicker of unease in his eyes. I wasn't imagining it. He knew something. As the photographer clicked away, I noticed movement under the table. My son's hand was reaching. Slowly, deliberately. I froze. My grandson pressed his small hand into mine. Nana, he's reaching for it. My heart thudded violently. Stay calm, baby. Don't move. Don't make a sound. I could see the tension in his muscles, the subtle shift in his stance. My son was no longer just smiling for the camera. He was hunting, searching, and what he was searching for could expose everything. I swallowed hard. My mind raced. What could we do? How could we protect ourselves and my grandson without triggering his suspicion? Every instinct screamed at me to run, to shield the child, to stop my son from discovering the truth. But I couldn't. Not yet. And then a shadow moved across the floor. Someone else had approached the table. Someone unexpected. My son's bride. Her eyes flicked to the table. She froze, a flash of panic crossing her face. I realized then this secret wasn't just my son's. She knew, or at least suspected. My stomach dropped. The wedding, this perfect celebration, was a facade. The real drama was happening under the table, in hushed glances, in subtle movements, in secrets no one dared to speak aloud. I whispered to my grandson, we have to watch. We have to understand. Everything will make sense soon. But we must survive until then. He nodded, clutching my hand tightly. The fear in his eyes mirrored my own. I could feel his heart racing, and it sent a chill down my spine. The photographer finished, and my son moved away, still smiling, still pretending. But I knew the truth. He was hiding something. Everyone was hiding something. And I realized this wedding, this perfect day, was just the beginning. The revelation under the table was only the first layer of secrets that had been buried for years. As I guided my grandson back to our corner, I made a silent vow. No matter what, I would protect him. No matter the cost. I would uncover the truth, and I would face the consequences. I thought I knew my son, but that day, I realized I didn't know him at all. The hall was alive with laughter, music, and clinking glasses. Guests floated around like they were in a dream, celebrating what they believed to be a perfect union. But for me, every step, every smile, every word felt like a lie. I could feel it, the weight of secrets pressing down on my chest, suffocating, relentless. My grandson held my hand tightly, his small fingers trembling. Nana, they're watching us, he whispered. I swallowed hard. I know, baby, but we have to stay calm. Don't let them see our fear. He nodded, eyes wide, scanning the room like a little soldier on high alert. And I couldn't blame him. The betrayal that had been simmering beneath the surface was about to boil over. I glanced at my son. He was standing near the head table, laughing with his bride, seemingly carefree. But I noticed something. His eyes flickered toward us. The corner of his mouth twitched just slightly, betraying the tension I knew he was feeling. He knew something. He had to. And then the moment came. My son's bride leaned in, whispering something into his ear. He nodded subtly, his gaze snapping to the table where the secret was hidden. My heart pounded. I could see it in his stance, the way his shoulders stiffened. He was planning something. I whispered to my grandson, stay behind me. Don't let him see you. We crouched slightly, trying to remain unnoticed. But my son moved closer, deliberate, calculating. His hand reached under the table. My stomach dropped. Every instinct screamed at me to stop him, to protect the secret, to protect my grandson. But I couldn't. I froze, paralyzed with fear. And then he pulled something out. It was worse than I had imagined. An envelope. A letter. Something that exposed a betrayal I couldn't believe. My son had been hiding this from everyone, me, his family, even his bride. I gasped softly. My grandson pressed his hand over my mouth. Nana, be quiet. I nodded, swallowing hard. The betrayal was real, tangible, undeniable. And the worst part? I realized this wasn't just about him. Others were involved. My son's bride, the best man, even family friends, everyone had played a part in this web of lies. Tears welled up in my eyes. Why would he do this? I whispered, my voice trembling. My grandson shook his head. I don't know, but we have to be careful. They can't find out we saw it. I nodded, my heart racing. I had spent my whole life protecting my family. guiding them, loving them unconditionally. And yet here I was witnessing a betrayal so deep, so calculated, that it shattered everything I thought I knew. The ceremony continued, oblivious to the drama unfolding beneath the table. My son smiled, laughed, joked. The bride clinked her glass, her eyes glinting with a mixture of fear and triumph. It was as if they had rehearsed this betrayal, perfected it, and now they were enjoying the fruits of their deception. I could feel my grandson trembling beside me. "Nana, what do we do?" he whispered. I squeezed his hand, trying to steady both of us. "We survive. We wait. We find the right moment. But we have to stay strong." Every word I spoke felt hollow, meaningless. The world around me, the laughter, the music, the celebration was a facade. Behind every smile was a lie, and behind every toast was a secret waiting to explode. I thought about the years I had spent raising my son. The sleepless nights, the sacrifices, the love. How could someone I had given everything to betray me like this? The pain cut deeper than I could ever describe. And then the bride's laughter rang out, sharp and too bright. I realized she was mocking us, taunting us. She knew we had seen the secret. She knew we were aware. And the realization made my blood run cold. I leaned closer to my grandson. "We have to get out of here," I whispered. "We can't stay. Not now." He shook his head. "But, Nana, if we leave, they'll know we're hiding. They'll know we saw everything." I nodded, understanding his fear. "Then we stay. But we watch. Every movement, every word. We learn everything before we act." The band played a slow song, and couples moved to the dance floor. Guests laughed, twirling and spinning, oblivious to the tension at our table. But I couldn't look away from the envelope, from the betrayal, from the truth that had been hidden for so long. And then a shadow moved. It was the best man. He crouched slightly, pretending to adjust his cufflinks, but I knew better. His eyes flicked toward us, then toward the table. He knew we were aware. The web of betrayal was closing in around us, tighter with every passing second. I whispered to my grandson, "Stay calm. Don't look. Don't move." He nodded, his small body pressed against mine. His fear was palpable, infectious, and I felt it in my chest like a knife, twisting deeper and deeper. My son's hand moved again, reaching for the envelope. My breath caught in my throat. The moment of betrayal was now. Every instinct screamed at me to stop him, but I couldn't. And then he paused. He looked around, his gaze sharp, calculating. I realized then that he knew we were watching. He knew we had seen everything. The betrayal was no longer hidden. My heart pounded. I could feel the tension in the room, the electricity in the air. Everyone else was oblivious, but I knew the storm had begun. The perfect wedding was over. The facade had shattered. I leaned closer to my grandson. "We have to be ready. No matter what happens, we survive. Together." He nodded, eyes wide, fear and trust mingling in his gaze. I felt the surge of determination. I had survived a lifetime of challenges, a lifetime of heartbreak, and I would survive this too. I never imagined that the person I had raised, loved, and protected would turn to face me with such cold fury, but there he was. The hall had not changed. Music floated over the crowd, guests laughed, clinking glasses, oblivious to the storm brewing beneath the surface. But for me, Nana M.A.Y., every smile, every toast, every twirl of a dress was laced with tension. Every heartbeat was a drum of fear. My grandson's hand squeezed mine tightly. "Nana, he's coming back." I swallowed hard. My pulse raced. My son, my own flesh and blood, was approaching. I could see the shift in his posture, the cold precision in his movements. It wasn't the father I had known. It was someone I barely recognized. "Mom." His voice was low, sharp, dangerous. "We need to talk." I nodded, trying to steady myself. "Of course, let's go somewhere private." We moved to a corner, away from the laughing guests, the oblivious crowd. The music felt distant, a faint hum in the background, as the storm of emotions swirled between us. His eyes locked on mine. Cold, accusatory. Every ounce of warmth I had once known in my son was gone. "Mom," What were you doing under the table? I froze. My heart leapt. My grandson pressed a trembling hand against my side, fear radiating from him. Mom, my son's voice was like steel. I know you saw it. Don't lie to me. I swallowed hard, trying to keep my voice steady. I saw something, yes, but I don't understand. My words faltered. I just wanted to protect. He cut me off, his jaw tight, anger flashing in his eyes. Protect? Protect what? Yourself from the truth? From the consequences? Or from me? My chest ached. Tears stung my eyes. I was trying to protect my grandson. He's just a child. He shouldn't have to. He leaned in, voice sharp, trembling with fury. He shouldn't have to know. He's seen more than you can imagine. And now, thanks to you, everyone's secrets are on the edge of being exposed. I felt my stomach twist. The depth of his anger, the intensity of betrayal, it was suffocating. My own son, my child, was confronting me like I was the enemy. My grandson whimpered softly, hiding behind me. I whispered to him, "It's okay, baby. Just stay calm. We'll get through this." My son's eyes flicked to him, narrowing. "And what is he doing here? Hiding with you? Does he know more than he should?" I shook my head, swallowing the lump in my throat. "No, he doesn't. He doesn't understand." His gaze returned to me, unrelenting. "Do you think I don't know? Do you think I don't see? You've been meddling, watching, interfering, and now everything could fall apart because of you." The words struck me like knives. Everything I had done for my family, every sacrifice, every sleepless night, every ounce of love was being twisted, turned against me. I did it to protect him. I said, my voice breaking. I did it to protect my grandson. You're not seeing what's happening here. He took a step closer, his hand clenched into a fist. I see perfectly, Mom. I see the betrayal. I see the lies. And I see you trying to play the hero when you have no idea how deep the consequences run. I felt my knees weaken. I had never felt this powerless in front of my son. The child I had raised, nurtured, loved unconditionally, was now a stranger, a predator in his own skin. My grandson pressed into me, tears streaking his face. "Nana, please." I wrapped my arm around him, holding him close. "It's okay, baby. I'm here. I won't let anyone hurt you." My son's gaze softened for just a moment, not with warmth, but with calculation. He whispered, "You don't understand, Mom. If you expose this, if anyone sees what you saw, it won't just ruin me. It'll ruin everything. Our family, our lives." I shivered. I realized then how dangerous this confrontation had become. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was strategic, calculated, lethal in its precision. "Why?" I whispered, my voice trembling. "Why are you doing this? Why hide these things from everyone?" He laughed low and bitter. "Why? Because sometimes, Mom, protecting appearances is everything. Sometimes secrets aren't just lies, they're shields. And you've been poking holes in those shields, digging where you shouldn't." I felt the cold weight of fear settle over me. I had always believed that love, trust, and family would protect us. But now, I realized love alone couldn't save us from deception. I pressed my grandson closer. "We'll be careful. We'll survive this. I promise." He looked up at me, eyes wide. "Nana, what if he does something?" I swallowed hard. "Then we fight. Together. No matter what." My son's lips curled into a small, chilling smile. "Together," he echoed almost mockingly. "Yes, together. But remember, Mom, secrets have a way of coming out. And when they do, you won't like the consequences." I felt a cold dread settle into my bones. I knew he was right. The confrontation had begun, and the family I had trusted, the son I had loved, was no longer who I thought he was. The hall seemed to close in around us. Music, laughter, and celebration became distant, muffled echoes. All that remained was the tension, the betrayal, the unspoken threat hanging over our heads like a dark cloud. And then my grandson whispered, trembling, "Nana, he's going to check under the table again. He suspects we know everything." I took a deep breath, my hand tightening around his. "Then we have to be ready. No mistakes. No slips. Just stay calm. I'm here, baby. I won't let him hurt you. I thought I knew every corner of my family's life, until I discovered the shadows hiding in plain sight. The hall had shifted in my perception. What had once been a place of celebration, music, and laughter now felt like a cage. Every glittering chandelier, every smiling face, every toast was tainted by secrets. I could feel it. This was no longer a wedding. It was a battlefield, and I had only just realized my role. My son's gaze remained fixed on me, cold, calculating, as if trying to peel away my thoughts. His hand hovered over the envelope on the floor, glinting faintly under the table's fabric. My grandson pressed into me, whispering, "Nana, he's going to find out." I swallowed hard. "Not yet, baby. We have to understand everything first." I felt the weight of years pressing down on me. Years I had spent nurturing, guiding, and trusting. And now, the foundation of my family seemed to be built on lies, carefully hidden beneath polite smiles and shallow celebrations. I crouched, bringing my eyes closer to the table, careful not to draw attention. My son's movements were deliberate, precise. He wasn't just searching, he was hunting. My stomach twisted with fear and anger. How long had this been going on? How deep did the secrets run? Then, I noticed something I hadn't before. Another envelope, tucked just behind the first, partially hidden under the floor drape. My hand shook as I realized that the betrayal was deeper than I had imagined. My son hadn't just hidden one secret. There were layers, threads woven through years of lies, deception, and manipulation. I whispered to my grandson, "Do you see this? There's more, much more than we thought." His eyes widened. "Nana, how do we stop it?" I shook my head. "We can't yet. We need to know everything. Then we act." I reached slowly, just enough to feel the envelope beneath the fabric. My hand trembled. My grandson's hand pressed into mine again, his small fingers warm and trembling. He was trusting me to protect him, and I had to. My son leaned closer, watching every movement. "Mom, what are you doing?" His voice was calm, but every syllable was loaded with menace. I forced a smile, my throat tight. "Just checking on your son, making sure he's safe." His eyes narrowed, piercing into me. "Safe." He stepped closer, hand brushing the tablecloth. "I think someone needs to learn that some truths are dangerous." I felt panic surge through me. The confrontation wasn't over, it was escalating. And the hidden truths I had just glimpsed threatened to destroy everything. The wedding, the family, the life we had built. I whispered to my grandson, "Stay calm. Don't make a sound. Trust me." He nodded, eyes wide. I could feel the tension radiating off him. The child I had promised to protect was now entangled in a web of deception, and I had no choice but to lead him through it. I glanced at the envelopes under the table, realizing they held pieces of a puzzle I had only begun to understand. Letters, photographs, documents, all carefully hidden, and all potentially devastating. My son's bride appeared behind him, her expression unreadable. She glanced at the table, her eyes flickering with something I couldn't place. Fear? Guilt? Or complicity? I didn't know, and I couldn't risk trusting her. I whispered again, "Baby, no matter what happens, stay close to me. Do you understand?" He nodded, pressing into my side. "Nana, I'm scared." I held him tightly. "I know, baby. I know. But we're stronger than they think. We'll get through this. Together." My son crouched slightly, his hand brushing the tablecloth. I could see the tension in his body, the precision of his movements. He knew we were aware. And now every step, every word, every breath was a game of survival. I forced myself to focus. This wasn't just about discovery, it was about strategy. Every secret revealed under that table had consequences. Every hidden truth could unravel years of lies. I needed to understand, to see everything, to prepare for what was coming. I peeked again, careful to remain unseen. My heart raced. The envelopes were intact, but the contents, I couldn't see yet. But I knew. Whatever was inside would explain everything. The deception, the betrayal, the lies that had built this carefully curated facade. My grandson whispered again, trembling, "Nana, what if it's too much? What if it destroys everything? I swallowed hard. Then we survive. No matter what. We face it together. Nothing can break us if we stay together. And then a movement. The best man, standing nearby, glanced toward the table. I felt a cold wave of fear. He knew. He had been a part of this all along. His eyes flicked to us, and I could see recognition, calculation. The web of betrayal was wider than I had realized, and we were in the center of it. I held my grandson closer. Stay still. Don't move. My son's hand hovered over the envelope. Slowly, deliberately, he slid it closer to himself, peeking inside. My stomach lurched. The hidden truths were about to be revealed. And then he froze. Something inside the envelope caught his eye. His expression shifted. Anger, shock, disbelief, and then a fleeting moment of hesitation. I whispered, "Do you see it? Do you understand?" My grandson shook his head, wide-eyed. "Nana, I don't know." I nodded. "It doesn't matter if you understand yet. What matters is that we survive. Watch carefully." I could see the rage building in my son, the tension coiling around him like a spring ready to snap. The hidden truths were too powerful, too dangerous. They threatened to destroy everything. His reputation, the wedding, the family. And now we were the only ones who had seen them. The hall was alive with music and laughter, but around our table the world had narrowed to a single point: the envelopes, the hidden truths, and the consequences they would bring. I pressed my grandson's hand into mine. "No matter what happens, babies stay with me. Trust me." He nodded, small and trembling. I could feel the fear radiating off him. The innocence of childhood was being forced into a battlefield of deception, betrayal, and hidden truths. And then my son looked up, eyes locking on mine. "Mom, do you know what this means?" I swallowed hard. "Yes." He stepped back slightly, a cold, dangerous smile forming. "Good, because now the game begins." I thought weddings were meant for joy, but that day I discovered they could also be the birthplace of despair. The hall swirled around me in a blur of colors, laughter, and music, but none of it reached my ears. My heart pounded so violently I could feel it in my throat. My grandson pressed close to me, his small body shaking with fear, and I realized that he, too, was feeling the weight of everything we had uncovered. The confrontation with my son had left scars I could already feel forming in my chest. His cold, calculated fury had revealed a side of him I never wanted to see, a side I had never imagined existed. The hidden truths under the table had shaken me to my core. Every secret, every lie, every betrayal was like a dagger, twisting endlessly inside me. "Mom, Nana," my grandson whispered, voice quivering. I can't take this. It's too much." I swallowed hard, forcing a calm I didn't feel. "Shh, baby, listen to me. Breathe. We'll get through this. I promise." But even as I spoke, I could feel my own resolve cracking. The world I thought I knew, my family, my son, the man I had raised, was crumbling before my eyes. Every word my son had spoken, every glance, every accusation, it was a reminder of how fragile trust could be, how quickly love could twist into fear. I looked across the hall. Guests were dancing, celebrating, clinking glasses, oblivious to the storm that had erupted beneath the surface. My son's bride smiled, laughing at a joke I couldn't hear, her eyes flicking ever so subtly toward the table. I realized then she was fully aware of what was happening. She was part of the web, part of the betrayal. My grandson tugged at my sleeve. "Nana, what do we do now?" I took a deep breath, pressing my lips together to stop the tremble in my voice. "We survive. That's all we can do. We watch, we wait, and we protect each other." He nodded, tears streaming down his cheeks. "But what if he hurts us?" My chest tightened. The possibility wasn't far-fetched. The man I had loved and trusted, my own son, was capable of anything. His calm, calculated anger was terrifying. And now, the secrets he had tried to protect were exposed. The potential for devastation was immense. I reached down, holding him tightly. "Nothing will happen to you. Not while I'm here. We're together, and together we're strong." He pressed his forehead to mine, small hands clutching my arms. I trust you, Nana, but I'm scared. I closed my eyes, feeling my own fear, my own anger, my own despair. The emotions were a storm inside me, threatening to break apart everything I had believed in. My son's betrayal was just the beginning. There were layers, deeper than I could have imagined, secrets that had been carefully buried for years, only now surfacing in the most catastrophic way. The hall continued around us, the music swelling, laughter rising, toasting and dancing. But I felt detached, like I was watching everything from behind a glass wall. The celebration, the joy, the glittering perfection, it was all a lie. A fragile mask hiding chaos. I whispered to my grandson, we need to stay calm. Focus. Everything depends on our patience now. He nodded silently, burying his face against me. I felt his small body tremble. How could a child bear so much? I had promised to protect him, and yet here we were, caught in the middle of deception, fear, and betrayal. And then movement under the table caught my eye. My son's hand brushed against the envelope again, his face tense, calculating. I realized that the moment of ultimate betrayal wasn't over. Every step, every motion, every glance he made was deliberate, a careful measure to protect his secrets or to uncover what he suspected we knew. I whispered urgently to my grandson, stay close. Don't move. He nodded, silent, his eyes wide with fear. I could feel his heartbeat, frantic and fast, matching mine. The child had been forced into a battlefield of adult deception, and it broke my heart. My son's gaze swept the room, scanning, searching. And then he crouched slightly, closer to the table, his eyes locking on mine. Mom, you've been meddling, watching, protecting him. Do you have any idea what you've done? I swallowed hard. I did it for him. I did it to protect him. His laugh was low, bitter, almost cruel. Protect him? Or protect yourself? You've been poking at secrets, dragging truths into the light that should have remained buried. And now everything is on the line. I felt anger and fear merge in my chest. I had spent a lifetime loving my son, guiding him, believing in him. And now the reality was unbearable. He was no longer the man I knew. The child I had raised had become a stranger, a threat, a force I couldn't control. I pressed my grandson closer. We'll survive, baby, no matter what. Trust me. He looked up at me wide-eyed. Nana, I don't want to see him angry. I don't want to see what happens next. I swallowed the lump in my throat. I know, baby. I know. But we have no choice. We have to face it. The hall seemed to shrink around us. Music and laughter were distant echoes. The air was thick with tension, betrayal, and fear. The moment was stretching, expanding, each second charged with unspoken threats. And then the bride moved closer to the table. Her eyes flicked toward the envelopes, and I realized she had been watching, observing, calculating. The betrayal wasn't just my son's, it was a coordinated effort. A plan carefully executed to hide the truth from everyone, even me. I whispered to my grandson, stay behind me. Don't speak. He nodded, pressing himself against my side. I could feel his trembling body, and my heart ached. How could someone so small be caught in the middle of such darkness? My son's hand finally touched the envelope. Slowly, deliberately, he pulled it toward him. My stomach dropped. The moment we had feared was here. Every hidden truth, every secret, every betrayal was about to surface. He looked at me, eyes cold and unforgiving. Mom, you've seen too much. And now you'll have to deal with it. I swallowed hard, gripping my grandson tighter. I'm ready, I whispered. The tension was unbearable. Every second stretched, every heartbeat a drum of fear. My son opened the envelope slowly, deliberately, as if savoring the moment. My grandson pressed closer, silent, terrified. Inside were photographs, letters, and documents that revealed the depth of deception. Faces, dates, events, all carefully hidden from me and the rest of the family. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was a network of lies, carefully constructed to protect appearances and control outcomes. Tears streamed down my face. My grandson whimpered softly. Nana, it's too much. I pressed my lips to his forehead. I know, baby, but we'll survive. Together. And then my son's eyes met mine. Do you understand now, Mom? The consequences? The damage? I nodded slowly, swallowing my fear. Yes, I understand. Sometimes the truth doesn't set you free. It traps you, twists you, and leaves you questioning everything you thought you knew. The hall had become a battlefield. The music, the laughter, the clinking of glasses. It all felt like a cruel soundtrack to the chaos unfolding at our table. I could feel the storm of secrets and betrayal pressing down, heavy and suffocating. My son's eyes were locked on me, the envelope clutched in his hand. His bride hovered nearby, watching, calculating, her smile now cold and distant. My grandson pressed close to me, trembling. Nana, what do we do? He whispered. I swallowed hard. We survive, and we face the truth. All of it. The tension was unbearable. Every second stretched like an eternity. My son's lips curled into a chilling smile. Mom, do you realize what's in these envelopes? I nodded, heart racing. I know. And now we have to decide what to do next. Together. He laughed, low and bitter. Together? You have no idea what you're in for. These aren't just secrets, they're confessions. They're proof of every lie, every betrayal, every hidden truth. And now they belong to me. I felt a cold wave of fear. The envelope contained evidence of deception, betrayal, and manipulation. But it wasn't just my son's secret. It involved his bride, the best man, and others I had trusted. The implications were staggering. I took a deep breath. Then let's confront it. Let's face it. No more hiding. No more lies. He raised an eyebrow, surprised by my defiance. Mom, do you really think you're ready for that? I pressed my grandson closer. We have no choice. The truth is out, whether we like it or not. And we have to deal with it. The bride stepped closer, her eyes narrowing. Nana, you don't understand. Some things are meant to stay hidden. Some truths are too dangerous to reveal. I shook my head, voice firm. No, the truth is never too dangerous. The lies, the deception, those are dangerous. And we won't let them control us anymore. My son's expression darkened. Mom, you've crossed the line. You've seen too much, interfered too much. If you reveal what you know, he paused, letting the threat hang in the air. Everything will collapse. Lives, families, reputations gone. I swallowed, fear and determination warring inside me. Then we decide what matters more, protecting lies or protecting ourselves and the truth. The room seemed to hold its breath. Guests continued their celebrations, oblivious to the tension, the confrontation, the confessions about to unfold. But for us, the world had narrowed to a single point: the envelopes, the secrets, and the battle for control. My grandson pressed into me. Nana, I don't want to see what happens next. I stroked his hair gently. I know, baby, but you have to be strong. I promise I'll protect you. My son crouched slightly, holding the envelope close. Mom, if you reveal this, there's no going back. Do you understand? I nodded slowly. Yes, I understand. But sometimes, facing the truth is the only way to survive. The bride's lips pressed into a thin line. Nana, you don't know what you're doing. You're opening a door that can't be closed. I felt a surge of anger, a fire I hadn't realized was burning inside me. I've lived my life believing in honesty, in love, in family. And now, I see how fragile that trust really is. I will not let lies dictate our lives anymore. My son's eyes flashed with anger. Mom, you're making a mistake. I took a deep breath, holding my grandson tightly. Maybe, but it's our choice, and we'll face the consequences together. The bride moved closer to the table, glancing at the envelopes. Nana, if you open that, everything you know will change. Forever. I nodded. I know, and I'm ready. Slowly, deliberately, I reached for the envelope. My son's hand shot out, stopping me. Mom, wait. Don't do this here. I looked into his eyes, unwavering. There's no other way. The truth cannot wait. He hesitated, then released the envelope, letting me hold it. My hand shook as I opened it, revealing photographs, letters, and documents. Every piece told a story of deception, manipulation, and betrayal. Faces I trusted, moments I believed in, all twisted by lies. Tears streamed down my face. My grandson whimpered softly. Nana, it's too much. I pressed my lips to his forehead. I know, baby, but we'll survive. Together. I turned to my son, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside me. Do you see now? The lies, the betrayal, it doesn't protect anyone. It destroys everything. His expression softened, but only slightly. Mom, you don't understand. Some truths are too dangerous. Revealing them, it could ruin lives. I shook my head. No, lies ruin lives. Secrets destroy trust. And we've had enough of it. The bride looked at me, her eyes wide. Nana, you don't know what you're doing. You're going to destroy everything. I took a deep breath, voice firm. Maybe, but at least it will be real. At least it will be honest. And that's more than we've had in years. The room seemed to hold its breath. Guests continued celebrating, unaware of the storm that had erupted. But for us, the world had narrowed to a single point. The confessions, the confrontations, and the consequences of hidden truths. My grandson pressed closer. Nana, what happens now? I swallowed hard. Now we face it. Together. No matter what comes next. After the storm of betrayal, the only thing left was to try to fix what had been broken. The hall had quieted slightly. Music lingered, soft and distant, like a fading memory. Guests were still laughing, dancing, oblivious to the chaos unfolding at our table. But for me, Nana May, the world had changed forever. Every secret revealed, every betrayal uncovered, had left scars that might never heal. My grandson clung to my side, small and trembling. Nana, what do we do now? I took a deep breath. We try to fix it, baby. We try. Together. But even as I spoke, I knew the challenge was enormous. The trust between family members had been shattered, hidden truths had come to light, and tempers were flaring. My son's cold gaze never left me, and I could feel the tension in the air like a live wire. Every moment could ignite an explosion. I tried to speak calmly. We need to talk. All of us. Openly. Honestly. No more hiding. His bride shifted beside him, her arms crossed, her eyes guarded. Nana, you really think that will work? After everything? I nodded, forcing determination into my voice. It's the only way. Secrets and lies have brought us to this point. We can't move forward without honesty. My son's eyes flashed with anger. Mom, you're naive if you think honesty will solve anything. Some things are better left buried. You don't understand the consequences. I swallowed hard. I understand perfectly. That's why we have to face it. Because hiding it only makes it worse. My grandson tugged at my sleeve. Nana, they're still angry. I can feel it. I pressed a reassuring hand to his small shoulder. I know, baby, but fear won't help us. We have to try. We have to face them. I gestured to the envelopes, the evidence of deception, lies, and betrayal. They're our chance to be honest, to resolve this, to finally stop the lies from controlling us. My son's expression darkened. You really want to do that? Open Pandora's box completely. I nodded. Yes, because the truth is all we have left. The bride stepped forward reluctantly. If we do this, there's no turning back. Everything will come out. Everyone will know. Are you ready for that? I looked down at my grandson. I have to be. He's my responsibility, and I won't let lies control his life, or mine, any longer. Slowly, carefully, we opened the envelopes together. Letters, photographs, and documents spilled out, revealing every betrayal, every manipulation, every hidden secret. My grandson gasped softly. Nana, it's unbelievable. I pressed my hand to his small one. I know, baby, but now we know. And knowing gives us power. Power to protect ourselves, power to survive, power to make it right. My son's expression shifted. He looked at me, a mixture of fury and something else. Regret, perhaps, or fear. Mom, you don't know what you're doing. You've opened a door that can't be closed. I held his gaze firmly. Maybe, but at least it's open. And the truth, it has to be faced no matter the cost. The bride's lips pressed together, tight and tense. You don't understand. This isn't just about family drama. It's about consequences. Serious consequences. If the wrong person finds out. I shook my head. We can't live in fear anymore. Not after everything that's happened. The lies, the secrets, the betrayal, they've controlled our lives too long. It's time to take back control. My son's eyes narrowed. And you think that's easy? That revealing everything will fix it. I pressed my grandson closer. It's not easy, but it's necessary. And we'll face it together. Tears welled in my eyes. I've spent my whole life believing in family, in love, in trust. And now, I realize that those things mean nothing if they're built on lies. My son's voice softened slightly, almost imperceptibly. Mom, I never wanted you to see this. I tried to protect you, to protect him, to protect everyone. I shook my head. You were protecting the wrong things. You were protecting lies. And those lies almost destroyed us. The bride's expression flickered. Fear, guilt, something I couldn't quite name. Nana, are you ready to forgive? To move forward? I pressed my lips together. Forgiveness, it was hard. So very hard. But for my grandson, for the child caught in the middle, it was necessary. I looked down at him, then back at the adults. I am ready, but only if we face the truth completely. Only if everyone is honest. No more secrets. No more lies. My son hesitated. The tension in the air was suffocating. Then, slowly, deliberately, he nodded. Okay, we talk. We face it. But be warned, the truth is more painful than you can imagine. I nodded. I know, and we'll endure it. Together. We spent the next hour, painstakingly, revealing everything. Each letter, each photograph, each document brought new revelations. Betrayals I had never imagined, secrets hidden for years, alliances and manipulations I hadn't seen coming. My grandson clung to me, silent, absorbing everything, eyes wide with fear and disbelief. And yet amidst the chaos, a strange sense of relief began to seep in. The truth, as painful as it was, gave us a foundation. A fragile, shaky foundation, but one that was real. Honest. Authentic. The bride finally spoke, voice trembling. I didn't realize how much this would hurt. How much pain it would cause. I nodded. None of us did. But hiding it only made it worse. My son looked at me, eyes full of conflicting emotions. Mom, I never wanted it to be like this. But now we have a chance. Maybe to rebuild. I pressed my grandson's hand. Yes, we rebuild. Slowly, carefully, but we survive. Together. I thought we had faced the worst, but the final truth was waiting, dark and unforgiving, ready to shatter everything. The hall was dimmer now, the music fading to a dull background hum. Guests were distracted, some whispering, others dancing, unaware of the storm that had raged and was still raging at our table. My grandson clung to me, his small fingers intertwined with mine, and I could feel the tension radiating from him. We had survived confrontations, revelations, confessions. Secrets had been exposed, lies had been unmasked, and the family had begun the slow, painful process of facing the consequences. Yet a gnawing sense of dread lingered in my chest. My grandson whispered, trembling, Nana, there's still something wrong. Something they haven't told us. I swallowed hard, heart racing. I know, baby, and we'll find it. Together. My son's eyes flicked to the envelope once more. His expression was unreadable, cold, calculating, but with a flicker of something deeper. Fear, perhaps, or maybe regret. Mom, there's one last thing. Something no one else knows. Something dangerous. I felt my blood run cold. What is it? He hesitated as if weighing his words. It's not just the lies we've uncovered. It's more than that. There's someone else involved. Someone we trusted. And if they find out, we know. I pressed my lips together, forcing calm into my trembling voice. Then we prepare. We stay together. We face it. Whatever it is. The bride shifted beside him, her expression guarded. Nana, you don't understand. This is bigger than you think. bigger than all of us. And it's coming for us. My grandson pressed close. Nana, I'm scared. I held him tightly, whispering, I know, baby. I know. But we're together. And together we can survive anything. Suddenly, a shadow moved near the table. I froze, my instinct screaming danger. My son stiffened and the bride's eyes narrowed. It was the best man. His eyes flicked to the envelopes and then to us. Recognition flashed across his face. Calculation. Threat. He knew. He had always known. And now he was ready to act. I whispered to my grandson, stay still. Don't move. Trust me. He nodded wide-eyed. Nana, they're going to take it, aren't they? I swallowed hard. Maybe, but we won't let them. Not without a fight. My son moved quickly, stepping between us and the best man. His expression was fierce, protective. Back off. Don't touch them. Don't touch the envelopes. The bride's lips pressed into a thin line. You're going too far, all of you. This isn't just about family now, it's about survival. I felt the tension spike, higher than ever before. Every heartbeat, every breath, every glance felt like a countdown. One wrong move, and everything could explode. And then my grandson pointed toward the corner. Nana, look. Someone else. I turned slowly. My eyes widened. A figure emerged from the shadows, a person I had never expected, someone I had trusted. And now, I realized the final betrayal. It was the family lawyer. He stepped forward, calm, calculating, holding a sealed envelope of his own. Nana Miwai, he said, voice smooth but chilling. I see you've uncovered everything. But you don't know the half of it. My heart pounded. What do you mean? He smiled faintly. The secrets you've seen, they're only the beginning. There are others. Hidden alliances, hidden debts, hidden betrayals. And now they're coming for these envelopes. My son stiffened. You knew. The lawyer nodded. Of course. Everything runs through me. And now the consequences of exposure will fall on all of you. My grandson whimpered. Nana, what do we do? I held him close, whispering we survive. No matter what. We fight if we have to. And we protect the truth. The best man moved closer, hands slightly raised, eyes flicking between the envelopes and us. My son stepped forward, protective, eyes blazing. If anyone touches a single piece of that, I swear. The lawyer's smile widened. You underestimate the forces you're up against. This isn't just family drama anymore. This is power, influence, and danger. I felt fear spike in my chest, sharp and icy. The truth, the hidden truths we had fought to uncover, were not just dangerous, they were a weapon. And now, the battle had expanded beyond anything I had imagined. I whispered to my grandson, stay close. No matter what. Do you understand? He nodded, pressing his small face into my side. I understand, Nana. But I'm scared. I kissed the top of his head, swallowing hard. I know, baby. I'm scared too. But we survive. Together. The lawyer's gaze swept the room. You've opened doors that cannot be closed. And soon everyone will know. Everyone will pay the price. My son clenched his fists. Then we prepare. No one will take this from us. We survive. Together.